talk the day you heard about everyone
Well,
about Pearl Harbor?
The big story for us, for me, was we were snowbound up in Prince Edward Island, and snowbound in the barracks, and remember hearing there were two guys getting in a fight because we've been, you know, what do you call it, confined so long in that damn barracks. But anyway, two guys were getting in a fight, and the radio was on, and they started talking about Pearl Harbor, and it kind of, you know, shocked everybody, and that was the first you heard of it. Well, of course, everything from there on out, where everybody's wondering, well, what's going to happen to us?
Did any of the fellows at that time make inquiries? Can we transfer now?
I don't think so.
So at that time you didn't.
I don't even think we thought it was possible.
And where did you first hear about this transfer? What did they inform you in advance that you could transfer? Or what?
Oh yeah.
How did they inform you?
Well, as I recall, they told us that we could go back. You know, of course, they didn't want us to go back, but they told us we could go back, and that a train would be coming up, and the train would go from the East Coast to the West Coast, and we would be allowed to go down and sign up to come back. The train had Army and Navy and Marines, and you could sign up to, you know, whatever one you wanted. And I had a buddy in the Navy, and knew about carrier landings. I said, well, hell, I don't want to do that. So I signed up in the Army. From here.
Yeah. Did you ever consider staying in the RCAF rather than transferring?
Well, yeah, we all, I'm sure we all figured, you know, doing that. But one big problem that we could see was there were so many guys leaving, that program would have died for a while. And, you know, the instructors and everything leaving, and the students leaving, and so that was one consideration. The other consideration was the difference in the we got a $10,000 life insurance policy coming back, and I don't know, it was just the idea. I think I often wonder what happens to the guys that stayed up there. I understand most of the bomber pilots for RCAF pilots that went over to England wound up as bomber pilots. That wouldn't have been too good. When we reported in at Montgomery, Alabama, to the Maxwell Field, and we walked in there, and they, what are you guys doing here? I said, well, this is what our orders told us to do, and they said, we don't know anything about it. And so they stuck us out in tents. And the Canadian guys really didn't like the treatment we got there. We were right in the back of a cadet barracks, and we just didn't have that gung-ho cadet stuff. And we had a lot of problems with them, but and then they wanted to wash out some of the guys, and they...
Why was that? Because of their...
Well, I remember one guy was... they gave us a physical up there in Canada on the train, and then when we got down to Maxwell, they gave us another physical, and they found some nitpicking stuff. One guy, it seemed like it was something about his feet, and he got a hold of a guy by the name, I'm going to say Walker, who was one of the chief instructors up in Canada. He was a major, I think, in the American Air Force when we came back to Maxwell, and got a hold of him, and he straightened that deal out for the guy. Of course, it's just like when I said, when we got back there, we were in uniform, and they said, what are you guys doing here? We don't have any idea what to do with you.
And you were in RCAF uniform then?
Yeah. And, you know, you kind of wonder, well, this doesn't make much sense.
So did some of them have second thoughts then that maybe they should have stayed in the RCAF about that time?
Well, you have what did I get into now?
Yeah. And how did they figure out, how did you finally end up getting into flight training then?
Well, they just decided the class I was in, the group I was in anyway, they sent us all to start over again, went back to primary at Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and then went on through, I don't know, you say we signed up there in May, we graduated in January of 43. So we just went on through, some of the guys seemed like went to, I don't know what happened. They weren't in any group we were in. So all the group we were in went straight to primary. Well, the unique thing with me was the guy that I roomed with up in Canada, he was a little older than I was, and he's a Catholic boy and really religious and in love, and a gal in the States. But anyway, he came back to the States, and we went to training together. And then when we got to B-25s, we decided that whoever checked out as a pilot first, the other guy would go in as a co-pilot. And so we formed our own crew. We picked our navigator and our gunners and the radio man and made up a crew. So that guy went with me. We were together a long time.
And what was his name?
Henry Falone. But they really did a hell of a job. No more people than lived up there at the time. I think there was, was it 6 million or something like that? And they put out one hell of an effort, really.
Yeah. And how were you treated up there? Did you blend in with the other trainees, Canadians, and the others?
Well,
was there any special treatment or less treatment?
The big treatment from the Canadians was bumming cigarettes. That was one of their big traits. And I could see it. They were smoking that English stuff, and boy, it was kind of rough compared to what we had.